Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at the second of the Transformers Rise of the Beasts 3-packs. This is the Jungle Mission 3-pack. I think they both have the same name. Here we've got Airazor as a deluxe, Bumblebee as a deluxe, and Mirage as a deluxe in what were the standard, the normal movie release figures, not the Studio Series figures, but these are also really hard to find. I think this was a Target exclusive originally. The original retail, I think, was $70. I was able to get mine for like $55. So that's where I'm going to be talking about it, at that price point. We have 3 deluxes here for about $60. That's $20 a figure, which is a little cheaper than standard retail. And these particularly interested me because they have kind of unique transformations. Well, Bumblebee doesn't, but the other two do. Let's start with Airazor. First off, I love how this bird looks. I really like the metallic bronze paint we have. I love the color gradient over here. I love the brown and tan feathers, the two different, tones of tan. Decent articulation. The wings are not very well articulated. All they can do is flap up and down a little bit. That's about it. There's no bend or anything in the wing. The legs, though, are very articulated. We've got backwards movement. We've got forwards movement. We've got a swivel. We've got movement at the knee. We've got some claw toe curl. The head is also not very articulated. So overall, more limited than the Studio Series figure, but just like a good-looking bird. You ever see a bird and you're like, that is a good-looking bird. That is what Airazor is to me. We've got Bumblebee. Guess what? It's freaking Bumblebee. I've never been a fan of movie Bumblebee. I don't care. The yellow doesn't match. It's almost impossible to get yellow to match. It rolls. His little metallic additional pieces want to pop off. Not much to say here. A little Autobot symbol. Some transparent headlights. A lot of robot mode hanging off the bottom. Black paint. These stripes, I don't even know if they're supposed to go all the way across, but they don't. Yeah, it's fine. That's not the reason you get it. We have a Mirage, who is a pretty decent looking Mirage, not a Porsche licensed Mirage, but still a cool car nonetheless. He has his weapon back here. And yeah, it's rolls okay. Like gray wheels, which is odd. A lot of gray instead of the silver that we saw in the Studio Series figure, but it seems to hold together pretty well. Transparent plastic, not everywhere on the figure, which is nice, and we've got a robot mode hiding underneath. But if you want a Mirage and you can't find the Studio Series one, this is the one to get. Although I will say, I think this is harder to find than the Studio Series figures. And to that end, let's do some quick comparisons. Here they are with the other 3-pack, so we can see all 6 of the figures together. We've got 3 Autobots, a Terrorcon, and 2 Maximals. I think they look pretty good together. All have the same kind of stylings and whatnot. Here are our 2 Airazors together. Obviously, one's a large Voyager and one's just a regular Voyager, but 2 very distinct bird modes. And I like both of them in different ways. I'd say this is the better looking bird mode, but this is still a very unique one. And here are our 2 Mirages. Obviously, very different interpretations. This one has Porsche on it, so it had to follow certain rules. But still like 2 silver-ish sports cars, about the same size, that sort of thing. And if we want to show my Autobots together, here is what I have. Obviously, I'm missing Optimus Prime, but that is what they looked like together. And if for some reason you wanted all the Maximals together, but you couldn't find Studio Series Airazor, here is how they look together. I thought about doing more comparisons, but I think I'm going to stick with just that for now. We'll see what I do in robot mode. Because these aren't Studio Series figures, I don't think there's a ton of value in comparing them with the Studio Series figures, except for their direct counterparts. So let's get into some transformation. Let's start with Bumblebee here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to unpeg his forearms, which is interesting that they aren't perfectly symmetrical, but we unpeg them. The wheels are tabbed into his shoulders. We can unpeg and bring those out. Lets us get the arms out and to the sides. With those as far out of the way as possible, We can come in on the back, and these doors also unpeg on either side. That allows us to start to move this assembly here, which we can do so. We can move it, bring it up. This fender's going to pop off, but that's okay. That's going to be a weapon anyway. We can come in on the bottom, unpeg these legs, not unpeg, but just get those feet out of the way, spin the waist 180. We can see kind of our nightmare Bumblebee mess on the torso up top. We do have this front fender kind of wants to come undone on its own, and that's just fine. We can let it fold our wheels up and out of the way. I do wish they kind of lined up a little better, but that lets us get these shoulders out of the way, which lets us bring this whole assembly down. It will fit against this waist, but first we want to bring the waist down, which will let us tab in right here. Oh, maybe we want the waist up. There we go. Tab the waist in, bring these arms around. We've got all sorts of robot mess and stuff back here. But the very last thing is just to bring this piece up. Then we can bring that piece down. And again, this does not want to tab super well regardless, but the intention is that this stays tabbed together. And here we have Bumblebee. We can break apart his weapons. And he's got like weird little like size, almost like ninja daggers, I'd call them. But they don't, unfortunately, they don't like curve the same way. I don't know. But here is Bumblebee. That is one down. Let's do Mirage next. Mirage is relatively simple. Take his weapon off the back. We're going to come in and we're going to untab these side panels on either side. Like so. Come in and we can bring up, untab the front end, and we can bring up this car section. The top of the car separates out from everything else. There we go. It's on an accordion, so it can come out and out of the way. We can do the arms here. The arms are locked down. We can lift them up and out of the way, up and out of the way, flipping them around, flipping out our hands on either side. And then these two sections, the headlight and the wheel well, flip away from each other, flips around to give us our elbows. Same thing on this side. Flip this out, flipping around the arm. This legs, if they haven't untabbed themselves, they can untab. And then we want to flip out the rear fender, flipping out and around this section here, which lets us bring this whole leg down. And what that does is it essentially lets us flip the leg inside out and build a leg assembly on the inside. So we come down and this section locks together, and then we have this section folds in and tabs in place, and this section comes up and closes around the wheel well. And we have like a neat little like leg assembly. I really like this leg transformation in general. I think it's a really fun idea to get a leg built like so. Flipping around his waist, and we can see we essentially have him done except for his backpack, which is going to come up, and then this section is going to fold down and around itself to form, I guess, as tight a backpack as this figure can have. And here, give him his weapon, is Mirage, all done. And last but not least is Airazor. Airazor, again, cute little bird. We can start at the bird legs. They are going to be the robot arms, which we can just bring them down and out of the way, rotate things, bring the feet up, bring the wrist out. Same thing on this side. Feet up, wrist out. We can flip out our head if we want a little bit. The wing assembly is in two halves. I like to take off our knives, separate out the wing into its two halves, kind of splitting the body into an upper body and a lower body. With that split, we can bring our head up. We can bring our bird head and we want to bring the bird head up on this hinge, rotate it around, and we can push it back, and that closes up to form a chest. Flip around the legs on either side, flip out the feet, split that up, there we go. Flip them 180. And then the very last thing is to close up this backpack, trying to keep these shoulders out of the way. We just want to bring things down and around on the whole backpack assembly. It'll sit flat, and there's a tab that goes into the back end here with these little wings, kind of, they can pop up to the side or down however you want them. And here is Airazor. Again, just needs her daggers. And here is the Jungle Mission Team Pack 2 in their robot modes. And I'd say overall, we're looking at some pretty decent deluxes. There's things I like, there's things I like a lot less. Airazor is a little loose, but probably my favorite of the three just in terms of design. Mirage, I like that he's as clean as he is. That is very impressive, even if he looks essentially nothing like Mirage. And Bumblebee's Bumblebee. We had to have a Bumblebee, and I think as far as Bumblebee goes, he's fine, but I don't care about Bumblebee. In terms of articulation, I think that they are pretty decent little deluxes. Airazor has a really nicely sculpted head. I really like that head sculpt. Good ball joint here, plenty of wiggle. 360 on the shoulder, can go up with that shoulder joint, can actually get pretty high, which I really appreciate. Bicep swivel, elbow bend that goes 90 degrees. No wrist swivel due to transformation. No waist swivel due to transformation, which is basically my biggest bummer about the figure. We do have a nice Van Damme split. We can kick up plenty high. We can kick back about so far, but you can always undo the tail feather to get a little bit extra out of it. We do have, we can put that back, thigh swivel, 90-degree knee bend, and ankle rotation, but no ankle tilt. So like decent, not great articulation for a deluxe, but it's just such a cool, unique take on the character and a unique transformation. I really like that figure. Mirage here, again, he's like the clean Mirage. That head sculpt doesn't look anything like Mirage, but it's, I mean, based off the concept art, which is something I'm willing to forgive on a mainline toy versus Studio Series. We do have swivel and a little bit of wiggle in that head sculpt. We do have 360 on the shoulder, again, due to transformation. He can pop up that far. He does have a loose, this piece just pops off all the time, which is annoying, but you know, doesn't get too far in the way. We do have bicep swivel here. We've got a good elbow curl. We do not have wrist swivel, but we have a wrist bend. I don't know if that's super handy. We do have waist swivel. We can go out, not a full Van Damme. Again, loose is a problem with all three of these toys, which is really unfortunate. And that might be me forcing them into positions where they really just want to go that far. Can kick up so high, can kick back all the way, 90-degree knee bend, no ankle articulation, which is a little surprising. I feel like that just became standard for Transformers, and these figures don't have it. Then Bumblebee does have probably the best articulation. Again, no waist swivel due to transformation, which is unfortunate. He can, the head does wiggle and bobble. 360 on the arm. The arm can go up plenty high, which I appreciate. Bicep swivel is there, 90 degree here, but he does have wrist swivel and bend, which is big. Again, we had waist swivel due to transformation, but it locks up. Actually, no, it doesn't. It does not lock up. It swings. I forgot. That's not where the attachment point is. We do have this messy joint here, which really does not want to stay in place, which is frustrating. Van Damming goes that far. Splits go, kick goes forward, kick goes back before it runs into the backpack. 90-degree bend at the knee. No, well, sorry. There is thigh swivel. It's just like higher than you'd expect it to be. and there is actually ankle tilt on him. So out of the three, Bumblebee has the best articulation. I figure the designers thought that the fan favorite character has to have the best articulation. But in terms of designs, like none of these, Bumblebee looks the closest like he is on screen. Mirage is like clearly like a concept art thing here. Airazor's the one I really like. It's just such a unique transformation. It is very just like it does its own thing. I really, really like that toy. Would I recommend like the 3-pack just for Airazor? Absolutely not. But if you want Airazor and you also want Mirage and you can get it for like 40 to 50 bucks, you know, it's not bad. And once again, let's take a look at these guys with the other Jungle 2-pack. So here we go. We've got our Maximals. We've got our Autobots. You know, everyone's about the same size. I think everyone's kind of, this is... it's not a bad set of deluxes, although I will say just as a whole, it's been frustrating how hard it is to get the movie line toys with how, you know, the Studio Series hasn't totally lived up to what I want. But here is what they look like together. Here are our two Airazors. Again, very, very different interpretations of the character. Yeah, unfortunately, mine's knees are weak compared to the size of her backpack. But there is how they look together. And I think, like, I like this one. I like that design. But I really like that design. It's just a unique transformation. A cool transformation that isn't done easily by other toys sells a lot to me. And here are our two Mirages. And while this definitely looks closer to the Mirage we saw on screen, still not like super close. And I was reminded once again how frustrating this thing is to transform. I broke a tab. This tab on this side is now gone. Yeah, I'm out of the two, this one's way less frustrating to play with if you're looking for a Mirage that you actually want to play with. So, would I recommend the 3-pack? I think so. Not at retail. It's kind of been disappointing. The Rise of the Beasts is probably not... It's not my favorite. Bumblebee's still my favorite Transformers movie. Rise of the Beasts is probably my second favorite. It's there with Transformers, the live-action movie. But the toy line, I feel like, has overall not been wonderful. How hard these guys are to find. If you're finding them on the secondhand market and they're asking you to pay like 70 bucks or 80 bucks for it, don't do that. But if you can find them, you know, on sale, especially post-Christmas, for 60 bucks or maybe even 50 bucks, I think it's a fun little pack. Airazor is the one to get. Mirage is nice to have also. And then you get a free Bumblebee if you think about it at a $50 price point. That being said, Happy New Year, everyone. Last year was a wonderful year for the channel. Got to do a bunch of Transformers stuff. The winners of our Extra Life giveaway have been notified. Everyone's reached out to me. I've got their prizes sorted. They'll be shipped out this week. We hit our $2,000 goal. That's super exciting. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.